Everybody, would you like to stand and pledge allegiance? All right, this is our open meeting, and we're going to discuss resolutions. An open meeting, you can only talk about the resolutions that are being discussed. Sue? Open board meeting. Sue? You do the resolutions?
Morning, everybody. This is resolution number 2025-061901, approving independent auditor's report and opinion letter for the fiscal year ending November the 30th, 2024. The auditor will be giving a report on that resolution. Resolution number 2025-06-1902. This is resolution number 2025-06-1902, approving the agreement between Leisure Village Association and Transport Workers Union of America, AFL-CIO Local 220, effective December the 1st, 2024 through November the 30th, 2027.
Are there any questions on those resolutions?
684A Plymouth Drive. I just have one question. I want to know why we continue for years and years to use the same accounting firm. And I really would not like to hear, because they do a good job, it's just not a smart move to continuously use the same accountants and the same accounting firm over and over again. So why would we keep doing that?
Is there a problem with this accountant?
It's not good business. I go into business and you don't continuously use the same accounting firms over and over again. It's bad. Not a good thing to do.
I don't know. I think something isn't broken. Why even change?
But that's not the mentality of business to do that, especially in an HOA.
I'll talk to Tom about it. I will talk to Tom about that. We will the board will look into whether we will keep the accountant or not.
Bishop, 181B, still in court. I wanted, first of all, this is not part of the resolution, but to commend the board on issuing a survey, which I think is the first time that this has been implemented for the associations. So thank you. I think that would be great, especially if you can act on some of those suggestions in positive way.
Sue will bring up a survey later on in the meeting. And Sue will there.
Okay. The only question I have is, first of all, I'm going to say that my family has dealt with the current CPA firm, and I've always been happy with their work. Seriously, what is the difference between Teamsters and the Transport Workers Union of America? Is there any difference, or is it one and the same? Just
Yes, they are different unions. Transport Workers Union have been in the community for many years, far beyond when I started. I think they primarily cover bus drivers, where the team says I believe it's more truck drivers.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any more questions on the resolutions? All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Tom Quattrochi,
Here.
Debbie Forte, Judy Mapes, Sue Farrow, here. Sandy Accomando, Harvey Berman,
Here.
Letty Carini.
I would like the approval of the minutes of the open meeting, March 13, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Everybody in favor? I would like the approval of the open meeting of April 3rd, 2025. Second.
I'll second.
Everybody in favor? Any opposed? We have a special guest, Skip Bauer, who will be talking about the audit.
Good morning, everyone. This is a presentation of the audit for 2024. Can you hear me now? This is the presentation of the 24 audit. A little about us. Roll Ellie Bauer and Gas is a certified public accounting firm. We were established in 1926. We provide services, accounting and auditing services to a little under 200 communities through the state of New Jersey. These include condos, co-ops, and homeowner associations. We do have an announcement. We have merged with a larger company now. It's all on the eastern seaboard. It goes from Maine down to Florida over to Texas now, and it's called Venning and Company. Our decision was driven by shared commitment to excellence and personalized service and deep understanding of our clients' needs. Together, we provide even a broader range of resources, including enhanced tax planning audit services. We have a very large audit practice now. It's through the entire country, and it's all led by Joe Paul, who is the partner in charge of all audits going forward for all of the country, from, as I said, Maine to Florida through Texas. The audit process. The primary purpose of the audit is to ensure that the financial statements fairly reflect the association's financial position and look out for the financial interest of you, the membership. Financial statement verification. The auditor will verify the HOA's financial statements are fairly stated, including the balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow statement. This includes confirming revenue and expenses aligned with recorded transactions and identifying any discrepancies or irregularities. The audit verifies the HOA's financial position and performance, ensuring that it presents a true and fair review of the association. Wow, that's better. Financial statements. Contract review. The auditor also reviews contracts with vendors and service providers to ensure compliance with terms, pricing, and performance expectations. This includes verifying the services billed match the contract terms and identifying potential overpayments or fraud. And I want to mention in the middle of this that during the audit process, it's theft, fraud, or simple fund mismanagement can happen to any association. But I'm very pleased to say we have found no theft, no fraud, or simple fund mismanagement. Our determination, your board here and management did an excellent job in this past year. The contract auditor reviews contracts with vendors and service providers to ensure compliance with terms, pricing, and performance. This includes verifying services billed match the contract terms and identifying potential overpayments. The review helps ensure the HOA is receiving a fair value for its contracts, that the association is not overpaying for the services contracted for. This continues. Reserve fund assessment. I'm sure you all know one of your major funds is the reserve fund, or auditors call it the replacement fund. It's where we use the engineering study to look at what you need in the next 30 years and how much money you have to contribute annually to meet those future needs. There has been last January of 24, there was a state Senate bill passed that is given a little more power behind the requirement of this association, these reserve fund studies. Now, the auditor evaluates the HOA reserve funds, which are set aside for future repairs and capital improvements. They will verify that the reserves are adequately funded and utilized in accordance with the association's governing documents and the most recent reserve fund study that was completed. The audit helps identify potential risks and help ensure the HOA has sufficient reserves to cover for future expenses. Internal control evaluation. The auditor also evaluates the HOA's internal financial controls, such as processing for collecting assessments, approving expenses, and maintaining records. This ensures that checks and balances are in place to help prevent the financial mismanagement and fraud. The audit helps identifying areas which our internal controls can be strengthened or improved for financial accountability. In compliance checks, the auditor will confirm that the HOA's financial practices align with the bylaws and the state regulations and other applicable laws. This includes verifying the HOA is complying with relevant financial reporting standards and accounting principles. The audit ensures that the HOA is operating in compliance with all legal and regulatory requirements. Now we'll go to the first page that we're going to go over in the audit, and this is the asset section of the balance sheet. Now please remember the balance sheet is like a snapshot of a point in time. So these are our actual cash balances, our receivables, our prepays at November 30th of 23. We also have the 23 balances you can see comparative. 24 and 23. Now, I do want to mention, you look here, we have a total cash and cash equivalents of $1,601,000 at the end of 24. At the end of 23, it was $1,211,000. In investments, we have $3,177,000 versus $3,152,000 in 23. And just the difference between these two, anything with an initial maturity or investments over 3 months have to be broken out into investments and then footnoted in the footnotes. Everything up in cash and cash equivalents is more liquid monies and money funds, money markets, cash accounts. One thing I want to mention is in the middle of the page is the association fees receivable. Now, when you're looking at financial statements, what you're really looking at how you're doing. And what are some of your weaknesses? Now, the only weakness that I can say here, and it's improved amazingly over the years, is the association fees receivable. So at the end of the year, we had total receivables of $561,000. And this is a $55,000 improvement from the year ending '23. I do want to mention also 70 units make up 514,000 of this 561,000. And this is an improvement. The previous year, it was, let me just go here, 580,000, and it was 73 units. So you can see we're improving drastically. And if we go back about 8 years ago, this total receivables was just under $1,400,000. So we've collected and resolved accounts from $1,400,000 down to the 561,000. So you can see continual improvement in the receivable area. Now the next page is the second part of the balance sheet. This is the liabilities and fund balance portion of the balance sheet. You can see it toward the second line up at the bottom, the fund balances. At the end of the year, we have $642,000 in the operating fund balance. Preventative maintenance fund. We are showing a deficiency in that fund now, and that's because of the loan that we took out. And during the year ended November 30th, 24, the association entered into a loan agreement with First Citizens Bank in the amount of $2 million. The loan proceeds were utilized to provide for cash funding related to the rebuilding of the service maintenance building due to damage caused by the fire, and exterior painting and power washing and other projects throughout the community. Now, this loan has been segregated between the deferred maintenance and preventative maintenance fund and the replacement fund. I do want to mention that the improvements and rebuilding of the service maintenance building was really needed. I have visited that building many years, and the improvement, I believe, will help operational efficiencies in future years with that improvements. Now, the next page is the first page of the statement of revenues and expenses. Now, where the balance sheet, the previous 2 pages were like a snapshot of a point in time, this is how we did for the 12 months ending November of '24. And also, you can have the comparative balances for '23. Now, this first page is revenues. You can see we collected a total of $10,556,000 for '24 versus '23 was $10,037,000. I do want to mention in the area of special assessments, during the year ended '24, the board passed a resolution to levy the special assessment in the amount of $253,000. It was $104 per unit, beginning April of '24. The purpose of this special assessment was to offset the increase in the insurance premiums that were not anticipated to be that great in the original budget. The next page is the expenses for the association for the year ending '24. We did end the year with a deficiency, and it was anticipated to have a deficiency. And I want to mention the largest item that made up that deficiency this year were legal expenses we're incurring with the Township of Lakewood. There were a little over $150,000 legal expenses with the Township of Lakewood over problems we're having with their reimbursements to the community. And I believe without those legal expenses, we would not have had a deficiency this year. Now, you'll see this much more in detail when we compare it to the budget in the back. And the expenses and all the other funds are in the footnotes. We'll look at the detailed expenses in the preventive maintenance fund of $870,000, and also the replacement fund for $2,778,000. when we go in the detailed footnotes in the presentation. Now, this next page is the statement of changes in your fund balances. So this begins with the fund balances from the balance sheet at the end of November of 23. Takes us the excess of deficiency of revenues over expenses for the previous page that we just looked at for the year. There's a special item this year. We did purchase outright the solar lease. This solar lease was $187,000 that came out of the operating fund, and in turn is being capitalized in the fixed asset fund. And the reason for this capitalization, we can depreciate this solar lease over the life of the lease and offset against the SREC income. So hopefully we'll reduce the taxes on that SREC income as much as possible. Please remember, as an association, you are taxed on your non-membership income. A lot of that is interest income, SREC income, anything from the outside. So you can see after the purchase of the capitalized lease, we did have a deficiency of $193,000 in the fund. Now we were budgeting, we're expecting to have about $100,000 deficiency. That's what was anticipating. But you can see we exceeded it by almost $100,000. And again, that is all to do with the legal expenses incurred with the Township of Lakewood. The next page, briefly, is a quick note on your organization, and that's in note 1. It lists the Board of Trustees as of November of 24. Very importantly, if you ever need to look at, if you look under the area note 2, Summary of Civil and County Policies, that lists the 4 funds that you're utilizing. This will give you a good description of each of the funds and the purpose of the funds. The operating fund represents the portion of expendable funds that are available for the general operations, and this is driven by your budget that is prepared a year earlier. Preventative maintenance used to be called the Deferred Maintenance Fund. With the change in the new Senate bill, they were leaning toward changing the language from deferred maintenance to preventative maintenance. The purpose of this fund is to accumulate sufficient amounts which will allow the association to have necessary resources to perform maintenance services which occur less frequently than annually. Fixed asset fund represents the portion of tangible personal property, not an integral part of the existing facilities that then are depreciated. And this is like your equipment, your trucks, your vans, mowers, anything like that is personal tangible property that can be picked up and sold, and they aren't part of the actual property. Replacement fund, we had discussed a little earlier. The purpose of the fund is to accumulate amounts over the lives of the assets, which are part of the common elements. So the association's responsibility to replace, so the sufficient amounts are available to pay for those eventual repairs. The next page is a little detail on items from the balance sheet. We did have a total accounts receivable, other receivables of $309,000. Township garbage collection is $282,000. As you can see, they're behind paying us. Last year, the receivable was only $125,000. This year, $282,000. Also, township leaf removal was $21,937. And there's some other small other receivables of $5,041 for the total of $309,000. Prepaid expenses this year, prepaid insurance was $159,000. Prepaid maintenance service contracts was a little over $8,000, for a total of $167,672. We have payroll and payroll taxes payable end of the year of $57,595. Now, this past year, we did prepare the tax returns in 11/20. Our income taxes for the year for our non-membership income was $23,895 versus $20,115. Your major item you're being taxed on is your non-membership interest income that you're earning. Unfortunately, as the interest income is generating a lot more income for you, you have to pay more taxes on that. But you are incorporated under Title 15A of the New Jersey statutes. Therefore, that exempts you from paying New Jersey corporate business tax. But please be aware that, remember that you are subject to all New Jersey sales and use taxes. Continuing to the next page. The Preventative Maintenance Fund, the major expense that came out of that fund is the exterior painting and power washing for $870,000 this year. And this was funded through the loan that we did take out. The replacement fund expenditures of the $2,778,000. Residential roof gutter replacements of $962,000. Road restoration and drainage project of $733,000. Drainage repairs of $242,000. EV charging station, $22,000. Parking lot expansion, just under $19,000. Additional expenses related over the insurance recovery for the maintenance building and construction costs of $487,000. Again, this was paid by the loan that we did take out. The bocce mediation, $104,000. Dorchester pool renovations, $102,000. Buckingham pool renovations, $74,000. Fitness room renovations, $26,000. And bathroom renovations of just under $6,000. Note 10 is a brief description of the last study that was done by KidCon that was dated February 26, 24. So we're well within the state required guidelines, updating the study every 4 to 5 years. The next page is what's been summarized from the last KidCon study. Now this is looking at just under $50 million of common elements that need to be repaired or replaced over the next 30 years. We have the components listed on the left, estimated remaining lives on those items, and the estimated current replacement cost as of the 24 study. Now, the new state law requires the study or recommends the study be updated every 4 to 5 years, and I'm very pleased to say you have been funding properly based on this new study in your budgets. The next page. This is more detailed, the schedule of total revenues, operating expenses, allocations to your fund as compared to your budget. So the first column, the actual column for the year, 24. The second column is the budget that was prepared a year earlier. Third column is the variance column. Anything bracketed is unfavorable. Anything unbracketed is favorable. We also have the 2003 memo totals you can compare it to. So you can go right down the line, the variance column, and see anything that pops out. You can see the major item is the adjustment to the probable accounts. We have $116,000 positive variance there. And the reason being is your accounts receivables are improving. We have less item accounts over the $1,000 now that we're looking at. So there's a complete improvement in that for the year. So we were anticipating to have a bad debt expense of about $100,000. We actually had a recovery of $16,000 with the recovery of units, money coming in, and the readjustment of the allowance for doubtful accounts. The next page is the operating expenses. And I want to point out in the middle of the page, contracted professional services. It's $173,000 over budget, and as I said, $150,000 of this has to do with the Township of Lakewood and the lawsuit where we're battling with them. So you can go right down the variance column. Any questions that come up, that is the variance. So anything unbracketed is favorable, anything bracketed is unfavorable. next page continues the back pages. This is the amount we contributed to the preventative maintenance fund, or the deferred maintenance fund it used to be called. We also have the fixed asset fund and the amount that we allocated to that fund for the year. And the next page is the replacement fund. You can see we budgeted $1,600,000, which we put into the fund. And there was also income for principal interest for the payment of the debt that was allocated to this fund of $53,870. Investment income this year is $133,000. You can see last year was $102,000. This is the main reason our interest and our income taxes have increased again this year. And our membership fees and lease renewals is $415,000. We did exceed the budget by $15,000 this year. On the bottom of the page, you can see we ended the year with $193,000 deficiency, and this is after the solar lease purchase. As you can see, the second column, unbudgeted, we were anticipating $100,000 deficiency. So we exceeded this by the $93,000, primarily again with the legal fees with the Township of Lakewood. Now the next page is any questions anybody would like to ask on the audit.
Good morning. Tom McCormick, 477E Dartmoor Court. In regards to the preventive maintenance fund for the road repair, we at Dartmoor Court didn't see any improvements at all. Yesterday, MUA was flushing out the system. After he finished, half hour later, another guy comes and does it again. And I explained to him that they already were there, that the road has no pavement. All the stuff is coming up, dirt. There's no pavement at all. I can't see any kind of repair work done at that court especially. So maybe if you guys could take a look at it. There was no reason for them to do it twice. I asked him and he gave me some kind of answer that I couldn't understand why they was doing it twice. And they did it for like about a half hour. So if you get a chance, if you look at Dartmoor Court, it's in need. There's no pavement. People can't park their car in certain sections of it. Thank you.
Receiving 574B. I got a question. You said with the reserve that we are now in place to do a reserve study. What as an auditor did you do with the last one if it wasn't followed? What did you put in your audit?
The last study was followed.
No extra money was put in.
They were contributing what the last reserve fund study was calling for.
They never did.
They always did.
No. Anything based on the reserve study, what they said, how many years to fill it up to the amount that they requested, $9 million. It was always around $2 million. Did you, as an auditor, go back to them to double check?
I did check. I mean, they aren't doing full funding that you're talking about. There's no communities do full funding. It's just what they do.
Now you have to.
No, you don't. You do threshold funding.
Okay.
Even the state goes beyond anything that I would ever recommend. The state actually allows 0% threshold funding. That they say that you can bring your study down to zero by the study. I never recommend that. Most studies that I recommend, it's 10% threshold funding. So they take 10% of the total $50 million, and that is your threshold that you try not to fall below.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning. Pete Pezos, 32A Cambridge Court. I just want to know, with regards to auditing, and I appreciate the comprehensive review, great amount of numbers, but with contracts control and internal controls, see how involved you guys get. Like if a contract is executed but not properly completed, let's say, for example, a spillway on Lake Tudor that's leaking, what happens when we have a contract that's been executed less than 3 years ago and it's not properly performing? Do you guys get involved with that?
That's more engineering if there's a problem with the contract and the work that's been done. I wouldn't even, that's after the fact of the audit.
Okay, so the money's been allocated and it's been approved and everything, but even if it's not properly working, you're not involved with that?
Yeah, I'm not.
Pete, that'll be brought up after the village manager's report.
Okay, so after this meeting, or when's that going to be brought up?
Yes.
Thank you.
Gene Lineberg, 352A. Thank you. Very well put together presentation. Unfortunately, I would have gotten a lot more out of it if we had gotten that handout before we sat here trying to find out what numbers you're talking about in each column. I am very disappointed that we did not have the handout, at least at the door. It should have been distributed a week ago so that we had a chance to look at these numbers and try to comprehend and follow as you were going along.
But typically what the board has done in the past is once the draft audit has been approved, the auditor will then send us the final, and we post that on our folio. So it's available in the folder under financial and audit.
Any more questions? Thank you, Skip. Secretary's report, resolutions, approvals. Sue?
Morning again. Resolution 2025-06-1901, approving independent auditor's report and opinion letter for the fiscal year ended November 30th, 2024.
Motion to approve?
I make the motion.
Second?
Roll call. Tom Quattrochi,
Yes.
Debbie Forte,
Yes.
Judy Mapes,
Yes.
Sue Farrow, yes. Sandy Accomando,
Yes.
Avi Berman,
Yes.
Letty Collini.
Yes.
Resolution approved.
The second resolution is resolution number 2025-06-1902, approving the agreement between Leisure Village Association and Transport Workers Union of America, AFL-CIO Local 220, effective December 1st, 2024 through November 30th, 2027. Roll call.
Motion to approve?
Moved.
Second.
Sue?
I'm being very, very frisky here. Tom Quattrochi,
Yes.
Debbie Forte,
Yes.
Judy Mapes, Sue Farrow, yes. Sandy Accomando,
Yes.
Avi Berman,
Yes.
Letty Collini.
Yes.
Motion approved. Thank you, Sue. President report?
I'm sorry about that. Good morning. Our reserve accounts with Ameriprise as of this morning is $4,094,693.67. We've written checks so far this month for $18,186.17. just a little while ago, we got a report from Gina, and today we are adding $301,237.53 to the reserve accounts, which includes our monthly payment and part of the backup that we didn't pay the couple of months. As far as collections, up to 30 days, we have 935 units. 31 to 60 is 39 units. 61 plus is 82 units. And of those 82 units, about 60 units are with our attorneys, and they're working on that. That's my report.
Yeah, Judy.
Would just like to thank Skip for doing the audit, and Gina, our accounting manager, and Regina, Lynn, and Joanne for all their hard work all during the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Skip. Okay, thank you. All right, attorney report, Greg Vino-Jessica.
So close. Greg Vinogradski. We're working on it. Good morning, everybody. Just a quick update as to what we have going on in our office. We just presented a modified bylaws. Essentially, what this will do is will capture all of the previous amendments to the bylaws that have occurred and approved over the years to one document, and this will right? So people don't have to kind of go scattershot looking for what's the latest provision in the bylaws. And it will also bring it up to date as to the current law, right? So everybody knows about RADBER regulations and all the new election laws that have been approved over the years. And so this will memorialize that into your governing documents, again, to provide everybody with a one-stop shop as to how this community operates and what is contained and proper in the bylaws. And hopefully, there's not going to be too many laws that change after this, but what will be up to date as far as the laws in the state of New Jersey. So the board just received that. I'm sure there'll be a lot of discussion. I'm sure we'll go to the membership at some point, and this will be something that we'll continue to work on. Regarding our office and collections, obviously we're very busy. In Q2, we collected $41,435.76 for the association. Again, continuing to place liens, foreclosure actions were appropriate, and working with owners, obviously, that contact us that are in arrears to present possible payment plans to the board and try to make sure that the association is receiving as much as possible without incurring as much legal narrative as possible, right? That's all I have.
Any questions for Greg? Thank you, Greg. Village Management Report, Tom Claus.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to run down a few things. Grounds crews are finishing up edging and have been cutting lawns in between storms. Also, the building department is installing some new parking lot lighting over in the Cambridge area. So the first phase is complete. They'll be working on to the main parking area shortly. Also dealing with a lot of weather concerns. Just want to remind everyone to be careful working outside. Temperatures are going to be high. Humidity is going to be high today. Try to stay in cool areas. Next week, we're also expected to see increased temperatures and humidity in the early parts of next week. Both Wesley and I, our grounds foreman, have been around marking areas throughout the community for concrete replacement, and this includes concerns submitted by the residents as well as areas that we've observed in our travels. That list is complete. We're right now in the process of getting quotes from area contractors, which we will submit to the board, and hopefully we have an approval for a contractor by the next open meeting. We will move forward with that. Road improvements, Reno Paving is still moving forward with concrete replacement in the area selected for this year. Currently, they're in the 1 through 20 court. Once all the concrete work is completed, then we'll start the milling process, base repair, and the final overlay. I've also submitted a list of remaining roads along with an aerial map that shows areas that have already been completed over the years and what the remaining areas are. We're hoping to schedule a day for an inspection to go around to these areas, and the board can determine the next schedule of road replacement. Road repairs, we're also addressing some of the smaller repairs in-house. Some of the repairs are outside our scope, our capabilities in-house, so we have worked with area contractors to get proposals for making repairs to these larger sections. We're also working with our attorney and engineer to schedule a meeting with Miko Paving. That's for the 23rd. This is to go over various punch list items for previous road improvements that are currently in dispute. We're gathering proposals for loader rental. This is for winter equipment rental. This is what we do every year. We go out very early in the season to get the quotes. We try to secure them very early on because they become unavailable once you get into the fall and certainly the winter months. We're hoping to secure an agreement with a local rental company next month. The board is also addressing concerns expressed in regards to Lake Tudor that was just brought up by one of our residents here this morning. They have asked the engineer to inspect that project area, which he was out recently to do. We're anticipating a written report from the engineer, hopefully by next week, to address any concerns in that respect. Lawn fertilization, the next round is scheduled for the week of July 7th, weather permitting. So we will get a phone call out to everyone and make sure the proper postings are out as well. 104 fire claim, just an update on that. We're currently waiting for approval on the truss prints. Those truss prints have been received, and we just need to make sure that they're approved by the town before we can finish up that project. 403 fire. Brickwork is complete. We're waiting for the siding to be installed. Also, rough and electrical and plumbing have been approved. Insulation and drywall are currently in process. And JCP&L, as you're very well aware, we're doing a very large project in this community by running new lines from the Dorchester overflow lot all the way down to Buckingham Drive, putting in new lines, new switches, and hopefully this is going to certainly make a major impact in reliability moving forward as far as power goes and reducing the amount of outages in the community. We're also in here addressing a lot of those areas of concern with the street lighting. So we're hoping to get all this done this year and finally clean our list of concerns with JCP&L. Irrigation, we're still working with Lakewood Township, getting monthly reports on the usage. The irrigation mechanics are out there reducing the times on the various zones. And we're also experimenting with some new style sensors for the irrigation system that have certain delays, 48 hours, 78 hours built into them, and also trigger shutting the system down as soon as it experiences rain, as well as having various adjustables for a certain amount of rainfall. So you can set it for a quarter-inch, half-inch of rainfall as well. And that will conclude my report for this morning. Thank you.
Any questions for Tom?
Good morning. Sorry I came late, but I have health issues that prevent me from doing early morning things.
We need your address.
Okay, Denise Dunn, 43G, Cambridge Court. Tom? When is the situation of the slum, what was a ghetto now is turned into a slum that is called Cambridge Court, from 42, 43, 44, and 45. The potholes, the pavement, from when the little wall was taken down, there are holes there. Now it's become not just a dump for bulk, it has become a dump for garbage. no one comes around. During the winter months, it is nothing but a sheet of ice along 43. Our little cul-de-sac pays over $12,000 a month in association's fees, and what goes on over there is a disgrace. And the neighbors who take care of things are perplexed as what to do because we don't feel we are getting any support from you, Wes, or Frankie. We just get a lot of lip service. Oh, and including John, who does not do his job as far as giving people citations for the violations that they have there. So I'd like to just know, when is the work going to start to take care of this?
So the work has already started in your area, Cambridge Court, Edinburgh, 1 through 20, and 60 area. So once again, once all the concrete work is finished, your area will be repaved. We have received your concerns in regards to the dumping. We sent John out there, could not identify the exact unit that was involved, so we noticed all the residents in that particular area.
Okay, so I've not received anything, and when I did send out some, I did point out some of the people who are doing it, and it's a constant, and we need some signs there, and we need notifications to let people know when the bulk is, and we get some guide rules over there that we find a way, because we have so many people who are in that area that we need to do something a little different, since now we have to put the garbage on top of the cans because we do have so much wildlife off the lake.
Yeah, what happens a lot of times, and I'm not sure if it applies to your area, is that it's a lot of education, right? So you may have some new owners that are not familiar with the rules and regs. As far as pickup days, we advertise it all the time in the newspaper, how to and when to put out bulk. So certainly you're going to have people that just defy the rules and don't think they apply to them, and they're going to put it out, and those people we need to address them so we can identify them. But others need to be educated, and we work with our volunteers to hopefully get that message across. So if they're not familiar with the processes, they get familiar with the process.
Right, but I think because of what has gone on there, we need to just now take a different approach, because it is so out of control. And maybe we can find a way to work together with Wes, with Frankie, with you, to find a way, because it's dangerous what is going on over there. And, thank you, and thank you for looking into this. And, we want to make things better, because we do have, being on the lake, we have more wildlife than normal in some of the other places. And we do have some new people who moved in, but some of the worst offenders have been there for a number of years. And I'm beside myself. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carol Taylor, and I'm at 39C. My question, well, I have a couple of questions, but the one that I came up for was, you were talking about the paving. And I had run into Frankie a couple weeks ago, and I said, do you have any idea when our area of Cambridge Court's going to be done? We're 38 through 41, that side. And he said, well, probably by the end of 25. Well, that's kind of a little ridiculous answer. So I thought maybe you might have something more specific, since this paving was supposed to be done when the parking lot was done, was what
Yes.
the indication was.
So that project was multi-phased. So the parking lot certainly was the first phase, and things were put on hold. That board at that time changed the engineering firm, so there was a whole different specification and bidding process that went out. But once again, the contractor is working Edinburgh, Cambridge, 1 through 20, and the 60 court. So once all concrete, curbing, sidewalk repairs, anything related to concrete for that project is complete, then they'll be coming in doing the milling, base repair, and overlay. I would think we're going to start seeing the milling in July, and things should just move forward after that. By August, September, I think the project should be complete. I don't know of any other commitments with that contractor. I think they're fully committed to our project, so they should be on site throughout the whole project.
Okay, I guess we're kind of anxious because right where people walk out of the building, well, by the road where 39 is, there are like 2 to 3 potholes that are really a good size. They're not just a little dip in the driveway. They're like about 4 inches deep. And if somebody was walking there at night, because the lighting is very insufficient, then we're going to have another lawsuit on our hands because somebody fell and now they're in the hospital.
Okay, well, I'll send some over to fill them temporarily, but they will, that whole area is going to be paved this year.
Okay, and then just referring to the garbage, perhaps something can, and even the bulk pickup, something can be put into the newsletter for those who do read it. That garbage shouldn't be put out after, it should be put out after 5 o'clock of the day before and not 2 or 3 days before. Thank you.
There is in the newsletter a section about garbage pickup and when to put it out.
Yeah, I've seen that, but I think maybe it should be a little older. Thanks.
Noted.
Barry Siegel, 574B. Just 3 fast questions. I got a lot, but I'll just give 3. 1, what was the MUA report with the loss of water?
I haven't received that loss report. I've only had the usage report. I've requested that report recently, and it's still not available. So I'll follow up with them to get it.
Please do. The second one was you're talking about fixing up the cracks in the road, the yearly one. What about the secondary ones where asphalt can't fix it? They just stay there forever until the court is done. Meanwhile, they get bigger. In winter, they get ice that makes it slippery, flooded. What's going to be done about those cracks?
Well, if the board approves cracks, you can hire a company to do crack sealant, but what I've seen in this community, that really applies to roads that have already been replaced and don't have that many cracks, so you can prolong the use of that. Most of these secondaries that have cracking, they have what's called alligator cracking. There's so many cracks, you would just be chasing them all.
I'm not competing the alligator cracks. The ones that become potholes that can't be fixed by asphalt.
Well,
Because they have to be
that
dug
would
up.
probably be on the list that I sent the board for review. So we're working to schedule a day with them so that they can go out and inspect all the remaining roads, or at least the ones that are most pressing, and get the next batch of roads to be scheduled for replacement.
Yes, but what about the ones that are not, that still have the cracks? They're going to keep on staying and not be replaced?
No,
And making
no.
it slippery?
No, well, once again, if it can be repaired, it will be repaired. If it needs to be replaced right now, it's going to be replaced right now.
Yeah.
There is a schedule in place.
Yes, but they can't be repaired per the board because they're secondary cracks and they have to be dug up.
I think what will work best, instead of just hypothetically speaking, give me a specific address so I can look at it and give you a solid answer.
Okay, look at 573. And the third one is the crack right here in the front going to be fixed? Is that part of being fixed? Dorchester, the main one.
Dorchester is on the list for the board to look at.
Right here, right in front?
Right in front, the Dorchester Drive all the way down is on the list.
It's the crack in the main entrance right outside. The
You just said he's going to look at it. We're going to look at it, Barry.
Yeah, but it's not even marked that it may be done. And it's been there for how many years? That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Sharon Weiner, 684A Plymouth Drive. I just had a question about the garbage contract. The contract that we have now is a 1 year or 2 year contract?
If I recall, it was 3 year, but I can check it and get back to you.
Okay, 3, because the money that is owed to us from Lakewood, is that, like, are we current with them and that we're still trying to collect that back money from a few years ago?
Yeah, so there was, from the date of the filed suit, you can go back 6 years. So that's what we're looking, most importantly as well, moving forward.
But are they current, like they're current now, like every year we get a reimbursement from them?
So they're making the installments to the association based upon what they believe they owe the association, not based upon what we believe they owe the association.
Okay.
So they are.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the contract that now you're telling me might be 3 years, because I have to tell you, it was a bad choice to take this company, because it's horrible what this village looks like now, the night before Garden's death. And now we're having a real issue on my cul-de-sac, because we've got 3 stray cats over there, that it's dinner time as soon as the bags go out the night before. And it really detracts, it just really takes away from this community to see all that garbage all over the place. So I don't know if there's a way to get out of that contract, I don't know, but that was a poor choice.
Gene Lundberg, 352A. Tom, I'd like to thank you for the markouts in 351, 352, 353A, and that whole area for the sidewalks, the pathwalks, and the front sidewalks. It really needed it, and I'm really happy to see that they have been marked out. Question, the Chungali project that they're doing. When they first did the very first section across the street, they filled it in, and then they seeded and put straw down so that it could start to regenerate the grass. The rest of Dorchester, it's just mud. Are they waiting till the whole street is done, or is that going to be our responsibility?
It may be a delay based upon what I sent them an email a couple of weeks back that I wasn't fully satisfied with my understanding of the seed the contractor was using. So I was told they were just using a contractor's blend, where we use a better blend, and those lawns were in very nice condition before they ripped them up. So I asked that they look into a better seed. This way they don't have to keep coming back afterwards. Now that the representative from JCP&L has not responded to me, I will follow up to find out what the status is on that.
Okay, and then they're going to smooth everything before they put the seed down and straw?
Yes.
Thank you.
I just forgot to say, Tom, thanks for coming out yesterday about the fencing, because they were already there this morning repairing that fencing. And then Shirley, I think, sent Frankie out to take care of that live wire that was sticking up out of the ground. So I just want to say thank you, because I really do see an effort like I haven't seen in a long time, with when people from my page are now writing emails or calling and saying, like, I need this repaired. Tom, you're always coming out, Sue comes out, and I just see a difference, and I want to say thank you.
Thank you. Is that all the questions for Tom? Thank you, Tom. Committee reports. Judy.
Just like to announce that tomorrow we have our neighborhood representatives meeting at 10 o'clock in Buckingham Hall, not this hall, Buckingham. And if you have questions and concerns, even if you're not a neighborhood representative, please come to the meeting and you'll have a chance to talk to the management while you're there. Thank you. And then today I'm going to my second building and grounds as liaison. So as I get more information, I will pass it on. Thank you. 10 o'clock.
Thank you, Judy. Deborah?
Good morning. The Budget Committee has met, or they're starting to work on the budget. We will be having another meeting next week, and they will be starting to work on the budget.
Thank you, Deborah. Sandy?
A little light information regarding Buckingham Pool. We will have music by the pool till 9 o'clock at night on Tuesdays. It will be, the second and the fourth will be karaoke. The first and the third to be determined. We're going to do some just music, and if people come, we'll continue to alternate. If not, whatever brings the most people out, that's what we're going to do. And it's some of the most beautiful sunsets you've ever seen up there. So please come and join us, even if you can't sing. Music is it's a really nice environment. People are friendly, and you can bring food if you want. So, and I just have to say, I've been here 13 years. This is the worst stretch of pool closings I have ever experienced. The weather has been absolutely unbelievable. So please be patient. Pardon? The time for the music is it's 7 to 9.
21st. This Saturday. Thank you, Sandra. Letty?
The Special Events Committee is having its regatta this Saturday, and it promises to be a very, very fun affair. Commodore Sharon will be piping you aboard. You can come here and bring your food if you like. The tables will be set up. Our clubs were asked to build a boat depicting their club. So that'll be a special race, and there'll also be a contest of the best conceived boat. And then there will be, I think, 6 other races with just the regular boats. And there'll be wagering. And I tried to get my bookie hooks into it with the Total Mutual handle, you know, the number, but they didn't go for the Brooklyn thing. So, but it's going to be a great deal of fun. Please come. You can pay at the door. I don't remember how much it is. I think it's $5 or $7 and something more for guests, but not a great deal of money. I'll get the money to you.
Thank you, Letty. Yes?
Absolutely right. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. Shannon is the Commodore of the Yacht Club. That's why I said the Commodore would be picking you aboard. But she's also the head of the Special Events Committee. That's why I mentioned that. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. It's the Yacht Club.
Thank you, Letty. Safety and security. It's going to be a bad one this week. It's going to be close to 100 degrees. Just make sure the people that walk out there, make sure you're hydrated. And just be careful. I don't even think you should go out there. 100-degree weather walking. But it's a tough one. Right, Pete? He's out there every day. So, all right, we have Sue's going to talk about survey leader.
I'm really taking everything on the table with me. Yeah, as you came in, there should have been some copies of a survey that we've produced. The board want to start a conversation between us all in the community. And we thought that this would be a good idea, just a start anyway, to get everybody's feedback. And in order to make it viable, in order to make it meaningful, asking as many people as possible to take part. The copies were available, as I say, here. They will be available in the admin office. I think the halls as well, they'll be available, and on Appfolio. So you have plenty of ways of getting the survey. If you're super desperate, you can email me and I'll email you back. And I won't say anything rude either. Anyway, so if you could have a go at it, when the results come in, I can analyse it, and from that we can see exactly what things are really bothering people. Not just that, but also where certain problems may be cropping up. And from that we can move on and we can investigate. So we're hoping that this is going to be one of a number of surveys in order to increase the conversation and to allow everybody to have, just stick in their 2 cents, which is what community is all about. Everybody's equal, everybody deserves a say, and everybody deserves to be heard. So if you have friends that haven't come here, if you can pass the word, that would be super dupes. The second thing, I'm getting my money's worth here. The second thing is that 2 weeks ago, an environmental committee, we planted the seed, as it were, because there has been a growing interest in the environment. I think there always has been, that's why we came here, because of the fantastic area. So the committee is germinating, if I can use the analogy. It's not quite ready to seed yet, but we will let you know what's going on. The end. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
I'm just wondering, can we get some copies of that survey at the meeting for tomorrow for the area rest? Because I have some older people in my neighborhood that don't have a computer and they won't go to the office together.
Vice President's report. President's report. Now it's my turn. All right. This board is going in a new direction. Notice that we are getting involved with the community. We want you to give us feedback. Facebook is not... What's that? Yeah, the beautification of the village. We want feedback from the people. We want to know how we can improve this village. This is a city here, and we got to run this city. It's going to cost money to run this city. It's just things break down. We have to repair things, so it costs money to do that. So we work with this board. It went smooth. He gave us a chance. We have a new board here. We're all retired. We all live here, and we go out, if there's a problem, most of us go out and check what the problem is. So I want to thank you all for having a smooth meeting here. I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.